This is Andy Pearl for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and as always, I'm delighted to be joined by the trainer of the year, Joe Gallagher. Joe, first and foremost, congratulations on that award.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you very much. I was surprised to get it, but no, it's nice to be recognised by your fellow peers and for a second time. So hopefully it sets the tone for the season ahead with my fighters, with some of them wanting to become two-time world champions and world champions at two different weights. So hopefully, it'll be a good season.
I mean, how successful a year for yourself on reflection do you feel it has been?
A very good year. I think when you have entered the tournament, then to come out of it as the number one super middleweight in the world, it was very good. Then a week later, Callum Johnson nearly caused a huge upset against Artur Beterbiev. It was very good. Crolla was up against Lomachenko. Liam Smith had good wins over Eggington. Callum Smith finished the season off with a fantastic first defence in Madison Square Garden in New York. Butler, Sam Hyde was unlucky against Riakpo. It was a busy season. I think it was like 19, 20 fights. I think we only lost, I think it was 2. But they were all good fights. Crolla had beat Dow Jordan in a world title final eliminator as well. So yeah, it was a busy season, and Cam Johnson had a good win in New York as well. I was just thinking there, it was a busy season with Stephen Smith coming back with a couple of wins. Yeah.
We'll try and work through the fighters now. Start off with Sam Hyde. I spoke to Sam earlier. He said he has some exciting news, but he's kind of coy as to what exactly that is. Can you fill us in at all?
Yeah, I think what Sam's referring to is that there's the board have called for a British title final eliminator against him in Dion Juma, and also for the English title, which Dion's the champion. So I think Sam's looking forward to that. I know purse bids are soon. I think hopefully there may be a chance that might go on a Matchroom show in December, when I think Okoli fights Jack Massey. Riakpo fights Jack Massey, sorry. Yeah, so I think it'd only make sense if that was top of the bill, and then Sam and the winner of his fight, Juma, would get the winner of that one. So I think that's what Sam's referring to. But it's a big fight and a huge opportunity for him, and it's his time now, Sam. It's time for him to grab these opportunities with both hands.
Zay Burton ticking over. Last time I came up, I spoke to him and he said that he would have loved to have had the opportunity to have a bit of a warm-up fight or a tick-over fight whilst he waits for a golden contract, but he said that apparently it's in the contract, he's not allowed to have one before the tournament. Is that maybe a bit frustrating on your behalf? Would you have liked to have had the opportunity to have Jose out once before the tournament starts?
Yeah, definitely. He's not been very active of late. The tournament we're seeing kick off there. It's a good setup, but yeah, it would have been good for him to sharpen the tools. But he's training well, and he's looking forward to it. He's confident of winning the tournament. Some good fighters in there. If Jose Burton turns up on the day, he'll win that tournament.
How stressful has it been for yourself as his trainer to try and prepare him for 6 different fighters at the minute, well, 5 different fighters at the minute that have been announced, obviously 2 more to come, in the sense that you don't know who he's going to fight, so you have to kind of prepare him for everyone?
Yeah, no, I think for the fans it's a great format, but I think for the fighters and the trainers, I think it's very hard to, especially this is the prize fighter, it's 3 rounds, but we're doing 10 round fights here, and you've got to prepare, you've got the right planning, and you've got to, we're not talking about novices, we're talking about good fighters, former world title challengers, British champions, who are used to having 8-week camps to develop habits and certain shots and work in certain shots. And Bob Adjazif's a good fighter, Ward's a good fighter, Jose Burton is, and you need to give them proper time, preparation to get the right. So it'll be interesting to see on the first draw, but it's no point. It's the same for everyone, and we've just got to make sure that we're prepared to, whoever the draw out, that we can go on and then get a win against.
Stephen Smith back in today, he said that he can see himself kind of campaigning at lightweight, at least to see if he can make super feather beyond that. Is that maybe the best division for yourself, you feel, for him?
Yeah, I think Stephen is just... He was unlucky in the super featherweight division. There were some great fighters there. He had 2 opportunities of a world title. Lightweight, obviously Anthony Crolla now in his last fight coming up. But you look at that scene, there's the Lomachenko's, your Haney's, Gervonta Davis moving up. There's some Teofimo Lopez. There's some really class fighters in that division. Stephen's coming back. He's got to have a fight. I think there's a European title there for him to win. If we can get a world title opportunity then after that, we'll have to wait and see. But one step at a time at the moment for Stephen Smith.
Do you think lightweight could also work out for him in the sense that Vasyl Lomachenko has said if he can get the Comey fight and have that undisputed title fight, if he was victorious or if Comey was victorious, but in Lomachenko's case, if he was, he'd vacate the titles, he said, and look to move back to 1-3 to super featherweight. Would that work out for Stephen in the sense that the titles would become vacant then?
Yeah, I think so. It will become fragmented. Of course it would. It just needs for him to be in the right position, have a fight, like I say, winning a European title, getting him a world ranking, and getting him in a position that if any of them belts do become vacant, or they all become vacant and give up, there'll be a mass stampede for people to get a shot at it with vacant belts, and he needs to put himself in that position. So that's what we're working on at the moment.
Liam Smith wasn't in today. What is the latest with him? I'm seeing a few rumours of Jesse Vargas as about that might be close to being done.
Yeah, I keep seeing them myself, and I keep sending Liam, and Liam's like assures me it's not Jesse Vargas. I think he's been in training, he's been sparring Jack Cullen, sparred Monday. I think he's playing golf today, so let him have golf. So there's talk of Liam fighting end of December or some point in December. So he is where he needs to be at the moment. His weight's good, he's been training. But as far as opponent or anything else like that, I don't think it's got to be Jesse Vargas. I don't think there's enough money to pay Liam Smith for that fight, to fight Jesse Vargas, especially when you hear what Jesse Vargas has been getting paid in his previous fights that weren't meaningful or title fights. I'm sure Vargas will want to be paid more money to fight Liam Smith, and I think Liam Smith will be wanting equal parity as well.
Liam's next fight will be the third of his original contract with Matchroom. Obviously, signed that 3-fight deal. Do you know if there's any plans with him to extend that?
No, that'll be down to his management team, MTK. They're in negotiations, and I've not heard or anything to suggest there'd be anything different moving forward. So yeah, I just think it's the third fight. Whether they agree a new deal now before the third fight, I don't know. But Liam hasn't said anything. He just knows that he's due out in December.
On to Callum Smith, Liam's brother. Callum ticking over now, getting ready for John Ryder. I saw him today, and it's quite incredible just how sharp and accurate and powerful he's looking up close and personal. How impressed have you been with him in this camp compared to previous?
Yeah, I think Callum's got to an age now, he's 28, 29. And he's physically matured now, and I think loads of people have been in over this last week, a lot of media here for Crolla. I've commented on Callum Smith, how big, how lean he looks. Some of them seeing him on the scale, he doesn't have a problem with the weight, but he's developing his man strength and has done now, and he isn't a kid no more like he was 2-3 years ago. And no, he's punching very hard, weight's not a problem. And there's a maturity about him now, and because he hasn't been as busy as he should be, he's allowed his body develop. It's not stagnated, and I do think, I said it the other day, someone came up filming him, and I said I'm a bit worried for John Ryder. I like John Ryder, he's a good fighter. I like Tony Sims, but I think they've got to be careful with John Ryder. I'm not playing it down. John Ryder's a good runner form, good puncher, hits to the body well, but I just think the way Callum is at the moment with his confidence and everything else, Callum's got to deliver, I see, something spectacular. No one's seen the best of Callum. You're privy to see some of it today. I'm like, wow, there's got to be a massive performance for Callum soon, and I think this could be it where people go, wow, shit, he's not just a kid, he's brutal in the ring, and I think the power he's displaying in his punch section at the moment, I think this fight was the wrong fight for John Ryder to be pushed into.
Callum said by his own admission that he doesn't feel like he's been able to show his best yet because he wants to go in there with the other world champions, with the other big names across the division. Do you feel the same, Joe? Do you feel that it's going to take one of those guys for everybody to see the best of Callum Smith? Yeah,
they all know when we beat George Groves, I was fuming. I know it's daft because we're jumping in the ring like idiots, but I was fuming because I was like, we had so much to give, and we had so much in the tank, we had so much up our sleeves, many more shot selections, so many different things. And it ended, but there'll be times then we have done in the past with Holskin, we've got away with it just by leading a jab and everything else. But I know there's so much more for him, and that's what excites me about it. And yeah, I'm the same as everyone else down there. We want to see the best Callum, and if that means maybe having to move up to 175 and fighting a Kovalev or Canelo if he beats him, or one of them champions, or Gilbert or Ramirez, that's a huge fight. Chavez at 175. Maybe we might have to do that because there's nothing happening at 168. There's nothing happening. The fights aren't got to be made. And we might have to go up at 175 and become a two-weight world champion.
I know we spoke about this in depth now. What I'm about to touch on, Callum recently announced that he's obviously signed a deal with Eddie and Matchroom for at least this fight, maybe one more. Why do you think it was that it seemed to be so protracted and long in the announcement process?
Of what?
Of Callum staying with Eddie and Matchroom for at least one more fight.
I don't know. It's I don't know about that. He had his mandatory put on him. It's in Liverpool. And it's a homecoming fight. So yeah, Callum's got to take care of this. And there's been lots of talk of Anfield. Maybe that's half swinging it a little bit, but going back 6-8 weeks ago, it was Callum Smith, Billy Joe at Anfield, and then I seen an interview the other day. Looks like there's a good chance Canelo, Billy Joe. So Billy Joe's got to be busy in May next year, isn't he?
I mean, I remember last time we did speak about it, you said there was better offers in America than what Eddie had put forward, at least Eddie's first offer. I don't know what came after that. Was there maybe a sense of loyalty crept in for Callum, and maybe he was just a bit more comfortable with what he'd previously achieved and what he's been through with Eddie and Matchroom, that maybe swayed things in the end for him to stick with Matchroom?
Listen, there's offers put before him. They're on the table. Callum's gone away, had a think, spoke to a few people, and that's the decision he's made at the moment. Have this fight, and Callum will decide what he wants to do next. I've always said that. Callum's in charge of his own career. All people can do around him is get the best deals for him, present them to him, and it's up to him then what he decides to do and chooses to do.
It was one thing that surprised me as well. Eddie said it and Callum said it as well, but it was just a one-fight agreement. Why is it that Callum hasn't signed a long-term promotional deal, if not with Eddie, then with some other promoter?
I can't answer that. Like I say, that's.
I mean, not just now, but I mean throughout his career as well.
Well, throughout his career, I was never one to sign Callum tie him into long-term deals or long-term contracts. I think for Matchroom, they like working on a no contract because they're if you don't win, they can drop you quick or they can bring you back. Or if you're committed to them, then they have to get you out again. And so I can understand the flexibility of it, and it suited all parties. So, that's good if they want to then, after this fight, come to the table with Callum with a longer term deal, a 3 or 5 fight deal. That'll be down to them.
Do you feel that this next fight, provided if he was to go to plan against John Ryder, he needs to be one of either the other world champions or he needs to be Anfield?
It's all right having Anfield, but what's the point of Anfield if no one's got to come because no one knows who you're fighting? So, you need the right dance partner. I'd be quite happy for Callum Smith to go and fight in America, whether it be in Las Vegas or fight in the big fight. I think Chavez in Vegas is a huge fight. I think Gilbert Ramirez in LA is a big fight. I think there's big fights for Callum Smith in America. I don't think after this fight, I know it's his homecoming, but unless it's Anfield, I don't think you'll see Callum Smith fight in this country again.
And on to Anthony Crolla, his last dance. What's it been like, this camp? I know that you're only a matter of 10 days away?
Yeah. No, it was funny. We were doing some big work last week, swimming and big high rounds of stuff, and I thought, wow, that's the last time he does that. That's the last time he does this. I think he has his second to last spar on Friday. Had a good session today, and like the lads all said the other day, wow, Crolla's looking class. And I said to Anthony, you're looking as good as you did before the first Linares fight a few years ago. And the lads keep saying to Anthony, have you told Joe yet? We told Joe it's not your last one now. And no, it is. He put it out there. It's his last one. He wants it to be his last one. And he's got a tough fight. The kid against is a good fighter. He lost to Edis Teti for the European title. Only a couple of rounds as the away fighter. There's no shame. He's good. Awkward. And Anthony, his work cut out. I seen it announced yesterday for some title or something. Yeah, but it's news to me. It's news to Anthony. I don't know if Anthony said today. Anthony won't be making championship weight. He was never agreed to do championship weight. And he's always agreed a certain weight with Paul Reddy at Matchroom. And that's the weight. Over 10 rounds it'll be. So all of a sudden 10 days out to ask a kid to start losing more weight again. Yeah, like that's, you just can't do that. The health, safety and well-being of the fighter first and foremost is important. And I don't know if Anthony's told it, but other people have asked Anthony today, and Anthony's categorically told them no. He's agreed a weight for the fight, and that's the way it'll be.
I mean, what's it been like for you personally to see Anthony now in his last camp? Has it been an emotional time for you, knowing that after all these years working together, it comes to an end next Saturday night?
I hadn't had a chance to sit on it really, think about it. It's just another fight. We're fully focused on doing it. It hasn't been like Rocky where you're blowing bubbles and all that. His last one was got to fight Mr. T. Crolla's trained. I think I stopped the gym training session a couple of weeks ago to tell everyone, listen, Crolla's embarrassing the lot of yous. He's training for his last fight. He's training harder than yous. That I've got big fights coming up, career-defining fights, stuff like that. He's embarrassing yous. You can't rely on Crolla to be bringing the energy into the gym no more. You've got to take the baton and run with it. And I think that's where I'll be sorely missed. Someone said to me the other day, I've got to lose me Roy Keane out of the gymnasium, out of the stable. I'm like, yeah, I am. But he won't. Crolla will be in the gym. He'll do a couple of training sessions. It's been bred into him to keep himself in fit. He'll be in the corner with me for fights. And I hope he goes on and has a successful career in whatever he chooses to do, whether that's a coach or whether he's a Sky Sports pundit. I think he'll be good. He talks the talk, he's relevant, and everyone can relate to him. And I've not had a chance to sit or reflect. People have asked me what's been the best night. I don't think there is a best night. I think there's been too many good nights for Anthony, too many nights where we weren't supposed to win and we did. And Anthony is absolutely drained and ringed and got every drop of ability, capability, and rinsed it out of him to make him the best he could do. He has given it his all in his career, and that's all you can ask for. And it stands to reason, and he'll be able to look back and say, yeah, I gave it me all.
Okay, it's just interesting you said about Anthony being such a big player in this gym. How key do you think it is going to be to have him still dropping by, seeing all of the lads and getting involved and just keeping everyone ticking over in some sense?
Yeah, no, I think it's a few people are saying, what's it got to be like without Crolla? What's it got to be like with Crolla? You see, it's good for the training, but it's good for the chats when we come in the gym, like this morning. What was he on about this morning? Oh, Australian Love Island. He watched that the other day. And then we were joking about the Winter Love Island starting in January and the Kardashians. So I think his chat and banter in the mornings has got to be missed. Obviously, there was great bragging rights on Monday, banter between the Smiths and me and Crolla and all stuff like that. Yeah, so yeah, it can be a distraction in the gym at times, and it's sorely missed. But just the cheesy stuff, the TV we watch, and he gets us all dragged in watching. So yeah, he's a huge personality, Crolla, a huge personality, and every bit of accolade and success that's coming his way is fully and well deserved.
Now, I do remember you previously saying to me, I don't know whether your mind might have changed, that in the ideal world, this crop of fighters you have now, you'd like to see them all go on, make their money, get out of the sport, and then maybe you'd shy away from training and go and do your own thing. Has that changed, or is that still maybe your plan?
No, at the moment, I just think with Crolla, one thing I'm pleased with Crolla, we've been in a long journey, and a lot of trainers and coaches don't manage to see the finishing line together. I'm really pleased that we are. I hope that's the case for Stephen Smith, Callum Smith, Jose Burton, Sam Hyde, all of them. Because a lot of them all fall out and split up. So I'm pleased that I'm able to do that at Crolla. But with a few fighters over the next 6 to 12 months that'll pack it in, retire, doors may open for other kids, and I'm hugely motivated and excited with the work that I'm doing with Sam Hyde at the moment. I'm really excited for him. The big fights are coming around the corner for him, so if it's an opportunity for the right fighters to come in, I'm open for that. I do feel there's that hunger in me still to get 2 world titles for Butler, Liam Smith, Callum Johnson a world title, Callum Smith another world title, a different weight, European title Stephen Smith, British title Sam Hyde. There is that hunger and drive still in me to do that, and most probably for 1 or 2 other fighters that may decide to join the stable who will take on coming up.
I mean, as you go through all the goers there and you name them and list them all, they are obviously all gradually going to be coming towards the end of their careers. Not for a few years, some of them a lot sooner. But with that in mind, you've previously said to me about how you'd like to see them get out of the sport being well off, had set up their families, etc., because of the health concerns that you have. And obviously when we have the tragedy of Patrick Day just a couple of weeks ago, does that kind of play on your mind even more then?
Yeah, I think me and Callum Smith have a chat now and again. Me and Callum have always said with Callum it's a case of getting in, doing what we need to do and getting out, very much like Naz did. We don't be fighting for the sake of it, and Crolla's leading by example. There's fights out there for Crolla to fight, but why? What for? He's done it. He's done what he's had to do. He's only got to put miles on the clock and put himself at risk of possibly getting injured. So he's leading by example and hope everyone follows. But yeah, it's been a hard time in boxing with the passing away of certain fighters, and that's what I stress all the time. People are putting their lives on the line, and social media trolls giving them stick. It takes tragedy sometimes to make people realise, and I do hope that fighters, when they're going there, and I'm always pushing to try and get my fighters the most money that I can get for them, because I have to say to the promoters, well, as long as you can give a press conference on Tuesday and Wednesday and you're happy and letting everyone know how much you paid that fighter and you're comfortable with that, then that's great. But if you're not happy with it, it doesn't sit well with you that some fighters passed away in the ring, and you've got to look that family in the eye and tell them why you only paid in that amount of money. You have to live with that. So there's money out there for the fighters. Stop shortchanging them and give them what they just deserve and what they deserve. They're going in an entertainment business, but along the way there's casualties. And I think there's a fighter, I can't remember who it was, that has said that he's got to pay for Patrick Day's funeral. And it's like boxing. We all come together in bad times, but we've got to stick together all the time. Good times, bad times, tough times. Not just in the bad times, but all times.
How difficult was the news for you to take about Patrick Day? Because I know how big you are on the health of fighters and trying to look after your fighters, as you've just mentioned. So when you found out about Patrick Day, how difficult was it for you to kind of comprehend how another boxer had unfortunately passed away?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's not just for me, it's for all our trainers. We all go in there, we all say little prayers for our fighters, we all want them to go in, come out with the health intact, and their opponents as well. Crolla versus Kieran Farrell absolutely shook us to bits, and Crolla for a while, seeing how it affected him and everything else, and Kieran, we got on well now, and he's managed to carry on with his career, boxing-wise, doing very well. But it's hard, and you don't know when that bolt of lightning's got to strike. Poor Gary Lockett's been through the mill of late, and certain referees, and no one wants to be part of that. And it's very hard. It's boxing, and at its best it's beautiful, but at its worst it's awful. And no one goes in there to maim fighters. And when people are trash talking and saying, "I'll die in the ring for this, die in the ring for that," listen. Keep your mouth in check. Do you know what I mean? No one wants to do that. Your family doesn't want that. Your opponents' families don't want that. And I think there's enough money to go around for everyone to benefit. And my first sort of Patrick Day was, I hope his opponent's clean. That's what I thought. But God forbid now if his opponent comes out and is found positive for something, because that's coming. That's coming. And it'll take a situation like that for boxing to be finished, or for them to act, or the governing bodies. The governing bodies are still too weak in allowing people tested positive back in the sport. It just can't happen. Just can't happen. We're very fortunate that wasn't the case for Patrick Day, but it's coming. It's not long to go. It's coming.
I know I've kept you a bit longer than what you wanted, Joe, because you have to shoot off, but a couple quick things. I do want to just quickly get your thoughts on this coming weekend, World Boxing Super Series final, Regis Prograis, Josh Taylor. Your thoughts on the fight?
Great fight. I think there's, like anything with Prograis-Taylor and Americans or everything else, have that invincibility, that chip in the shoulder, that self-confidence is really good. Josh Taylor, great fighter. Really, really admire Josh Taylor. Known him a long time. He's a good kid, very talented, and he'll be at the top of his game. He'll have a motivated coach in Shane McGuigan. Obviously got to the final last year, just missed out with George, he's back again. I know it's a box that he'll tick to be able to say he's had an Ali Trophy winner, so they'll be coming hugely motivated. Prograis-Taylor, coming the big puncher. It's all right being a big puncher, but you've got to land. Josh Taylor, very good hands, very fast feet. And if he doesn't get caught, I fancy Taylor to win points.
Chisora Price on that undercard as well. Your thoughts again, Joe?
Yeah, I think that's a good fight. Seen Price here yesterday. He's up for it. Emotionally, I'd love to go Chisora. Price, common sense, I'd say Chisora. If Price lands early, it'll all be over. If it goes past 6, 7. Saying that though, Price could always pull it on, but you'd expect Chisora in shape to come strong down the straight. But it's if he can get to 6, 7 without getting hit. If he can't, then Price safe within 6, 7 rounds.
Tyson Fury is also having a little stint in the WWE. What are your thoughts on Tyson's move over to that sport?
I think, listen, it's what everyone's done. Mayweather's done a little bit. Wayne Rooney's done a bit of it. Hulk Hogan, Sylvester Stallone did a bit of it in the Rockies. Yeah, listen, I think it's a great move for Tyson Fury. You've seen him doing the Batman at his press conference. He's an entertainer. We need that in boxing. And we don't always need the trash talking. If you look at the best fighters in the world at the moment, your Usyks, your Canelos, your Lomachenko's, they're not fighting tables. They're not death threats and everything else. And Tyson Fury's tongue-in-cheek with it, and great for him. It's great for his crossover. His children are big, huge WWE fans, so they think it's great, and why not go and do it? You ain't got to be able to do that in a few years. He wasn't able to do it a few years ago, so enjoy the moment, enjoy being where you are, top of the tree, enjoy life, and opportunities come, go and enjoy it, because if you don't, someone else will be doing it.
My final question, because I know you've got to shoot off. I haven't had a chance to see you since Nigel Benn announcing his comeback facing Sakio Bika. What are your thoughts on Nigel's decision to return and the fight itself?
First of all, is it licensed by the board?
It's the British and Irish boxing authorities, I think it is.
Oh, right, okay then. Well, listen, in life, everyone can choose to do what they want to do. If that's what he wants to do and Bika wants to do, then who are we to stop him? If the British Boxing Board of Control don't sanction it, well, fair play to them and credit to them for sanctioning it. And the people who are, the medicals, the insurance, everything else, I'm sure there'll be stringent medicals on both of them. But if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. If you don't stop it, it'd most probably go underground and be an event somewhere else, do you understand? So that's what Nigel Benn wants to do. Good luck to him to do it. He's got his head on his shoulders, and Beaker's a tough kid. I thought he would have picked an old Dan Sherry or somebody like that, but no, that's a tough fight with Bika. Fair play to him, and that's what he needs to do, closure. I just wish him all the luck, and God bless that both him and Bika come out of it with the health intact.
Well, Joe Gallagher, as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for speaking to myself on Boxing Social.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming up, Andy.